Hey everybody, what's going on? Ahead of Game 3 tonight, I just thought I would talk a little bit about the Nets' front court rotation again. This time in light of Jeff Green being out with a pretty serious injury for the Nets. He's a very important player for them, obviously gives them a lot of versatility. But I actually was higher on Nick Claxton's minutes than I think most people, because to the eye, he did not have a good Game 3. But I still think the Nets should rock with him, give him a lot of minutes, more than Blake Griffin, that is, and maybe sprinkle some more Bruce Brown at the 5, and I'll show you why right here. First of all, Blake Griffin, despite the nice three-point shooting numbers that he put up in the regular season with the Nets, does not space the floor. Here, he's in the corner for a James Harden-Bruce Brown pick and roll, and once Bruce Brown releases to the rim, James Harden would normally lead him here, but he can't because Tristan Thompson is pulled in, and that shuts off that option for that possession. Here, Blake Griffin's going to be parked on the wing, Kyrie is a driving lane, and Tristan Thompson just completely abandons Blake, which we saw Milwaukee do in the regular season, and now Boston is doing the same. And he misses the 3. He's just 0 for 2 this whole series from deep. And worse than the actual numbers, he's clogging driving lanes. Here it's the same thing. We can see Kemba pretty much has 2 feet in the paint, ready to cut off this Harden drive. It doesn't matter, because Harden completely shifts Romeo Langford and puts up a 3. But this driving lane is closed off, and the Celtics will have forced this 3 to Blake Griffin, had Harden actually passed. And this one is the most concerning. This is a play where you really miss Jeff Green. Blake comes down the court and for some reason is going to stand next to Bruce Brown, even though this area of the court is already being occupied. So KD gets the ball, quick double, swing. This is the pass that should cap off the possession with a corner 3. That's the kind of possession we saw a ton of in Game 2 when the Nets offense really exploded. But Blake is just not there, and the possession kind of fizzles out. So moving on to Nick Claxton. What I thought was interesting, and by interesting I mean not great, is that they played him with some lineups that I don't think maximize what he can do on offense, which isn't a lot, but I just don't think he was in a very good situation in Game 3. Firstly, the Nets around him aren't the passers to take advantage of his roles, and other than his rolling to the rim being a lob threat, he doesn't provide much on offense. So here, we're going to see Joe Harris come off a double stagger and catch it, and this is a 2-on-1 with a great shooter in Kevin Durant on this wing, and Claxton rolling to the rim. This 2-on-1 is possible because Rob Williams is preoccupied with the threat of Joe's 3. And so Harris doesn't even look to exploit this 2-on-1. Fournier has to play between KD and Claxton, but Harris catches it and immediately just gives it back to Kyrie, and it's a contested 3. This is another one. Kyrie comes off the high screen and roll, and Claxton is wide open for a dunk. Kyrie did not have a great passing game in Game 3, and this is an example of it because he waits too long, then hits him in the middle of the floor. And this sort of situation, this sort of dynamic 3-on-2, 4-on-3 type thing, is not what Nick Claxton excels at. He kind of has one move in 1-on-1, and this time it results in a bucket over Langford, but that was the only one of those lefty hook shots he made all night, and he missed the other 3. I think this might be one of them, if I'm not mistaken. Here, it's another high screen roll with Kyrie and Claxton, and it creates a 3-on-2 on the weak side because Kyrie draws 2. The problem is, this isn't really Kyrie's strength. As a 6'1 guard, this long skip past Joe Harris in the corner isn't really an option when he's being defended by 2 bigger players. So this does not happen. What instead happens is he passes out to Tyler Johnson at the top of the key. And right here, this is a layup for Nick Claxton if he gets the ball out of his hands immediately. But it takes him a little while, and then, again, not Claxton's strength. It's a brick. There was another possession in the first quarter where Claxton rolls. This, I gotta say, if DeAndre Jordan's on the court, we've seen Kyrie throw a nice looping lob to the front of the rim that Evan Fournier can't touch. But Claxton and he don't really have that symmetry, or that synergy, I should say. And once again, that's not Claxton's strength. KD was also victim right here. You can maybe argue that he is a lane for Claxton, but sorry. If Claxton looks up, but again, Claxton is not that versatile on the roll, and KD's just throwing it at his feet, and it's a turnover. Now, the lineups led by Harden and 3 shooters, I do think maximize Claxton's value. This is a great sort of possession that you can have with Claxton at the 5. This is a classic Brooklyn look, an off-ball screen into a handoff, creates a mismatch. And so now they're just working in a spaced-out floor. Harden tells them to clear out, left to right cross, and then this is a 2-on-1, the sort of situation which Harden is a master at, and it's 2 points. The other aspect of Claxton's game, one that's more important to the Nets, comes on the defensive end. It's not really even worth talking about the rebounding because Blake Griffin was once again non-existent on the defensive glass, same as he was in games 1 and a little bit less so in game 2. But in game 3, it was really poor. Blake Griffin let Tristan Thompson release to the rim a ton of times and didn't show too much interest in boxing out. But he also isn't too much of a factor around the rim in help situations, whereas Nick Claxton is. So here, Tatum's going to blow by Harden, and Claxton meets him and stops an easy 2. Thompson gets the offensive board, but again, when the big is coming over in help, releasing off of his man, Landry Shamet, James Harden have to do a better job boxing out Thompson. But it's a good initial defensive play by Claxton. It's the same thing here. Tatum is going to have some downhill momentum towards the rim. Claxton guarding Grant Williams is going to come off of him and make that a tough shot for Tatum, and it results in a miss. This is where Claxton's length just comes into play. You can see at the apex his arms are so long, and that is a tough angle for anyone, even the 6'8", 6'9" Tatum, to get a look over. Now, contrast that with this. Here's Blake Griffin. Similar situation, guarding Grant Williams. Tatum's going to have some downhill momentum, and it's just not the same. Blake Griffin is not really offering any of that forceful defense inside, and if neither of them are going to be great on the glass, although I think we maybe could give Claxton a chance to improve there based on what we've seen more than Blake. If neither of them are going to help on the glass, and we already know what Claxton can do versus switches versus what Blake can do, which thus far in this series has been getting exposed, I think it's worth it to play Clax a little more minutes and you live with the offensive warts, which in game 3, I didn't think was really his fault. I think he was put in some uncomfortable situations that we already know aren't his strength. You run him more with the James Harden lineups, and I think some of those weaknesses don't get exploited as easily. But you want more out of your 5-man than that contest. It's just not good enough. DeAndre Jordan, I think, could be an answer. We know Kyrie and KD are comfortable throwing lobs to him in the high screen and roll or the side pick and roll, and he is a better finisher. So thanks for watching. We'll see if the Nets adjust in Game 3. I can't believe I'm out here asking for DeAndre Jordan minutes, but I think it could be worth it. Thanks for watching, everybody.